Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Last night I published a video on YouTube highlighting that a fork of the XRP ledger is coming. And it's actually coming from some of the most respected and established developers in the XRP community, including Wei Wind of XRP Labs, who created the Sum app. And then there's other major participants. I mean, even exchanges like GateHub, for example, is on board with this thing. And they're going to facilitate trading of the new coin that results from this. And the new coin is called XRP Plus. So this is coming potentially by the end of the year, or at least they said they're going to finish the auditing ideally by the end of the year. So I don't know if that technically means there'll be a launch in the beginning part of next year. But either way, the point is this thing's coming sooner rather than later. That's what they're articulating to the public right now. And these plans, the white paper actually is just, it was just published a few days ago. And yesterday I had the chance to read through the thing, and I was left with a lot of questions. Namely, the most important for anyone as an XRP holder is this good for XRP holders? Is it good for the XRP ledger? Or is it harmful? Now, which is a perfectly reasonable question for anybody that's holding XRP. Now, I will share with you that the developers of this fork of the XRP ledger, who again, I want to reiterate, are among the most respected individuals who are actually building on the XRP ledger, they say, the claim is that it is beneficial specifically for XRP and the XRP ledger. Now, I haven't seen a sufficient articulation of why that is true. And so I want to know why it's beneficial rather than harmful to XRP and the XRP ledger. And I want to be clear at the outset of the video, there is nothing implied in me asking the question. I want to be clear, like, I might mention this a few times throughout the video because it's that important that people understand the series. Like, I'm not making a claim. I'm not implying anything. I'm asking the question because I want the answer, and there wasn't sufficient information in the white paper. I've also been looking fairly diligently through social media. It doesn't mean I've seen everything that's been listed, but I haven't found an answer. I see people debating whether or not it's actually helpful or harmful, but I don't see a clear indication either way, actually, at this particular point, which means that really at this point, I think we need more information from the people who are pushing this thing out here. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so first, I have to tell you right off the top of the bat, I don't know what the hell this fork is called. I don't know how to say it. It really grinds my gears. How the hell do I say his name? So it's spelled Xahau. And so I hadn't heard it articulated at all, not even once, as of yesterday. But again, it's a newer thing, so that shouldn't be that surprising. And so I just noted that in the video. But Xahau. And so typically when there's an X, it's going to be pronounced as though it were the letter S or as though it were the letter Z. And that I mentioned that in the video yesterday. And so for a lot of these things, a lot of times you see the X, I've just noticed that more frequently than not, it's S rather than Z. That's what it's supposed to sound like. So I was like, what does that mean? So it's a Xahau? I don't freaking know. So just stop using the letter X. Like, you don't need the letter X. Just use a word. You could call it spoon, and I'd prefer. I really don't care. You call it whatever the hell you want without the letter X. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I know, not the biggest deal, but still, kind of burns my biscuits just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But so anyway, I put out this post on X, formerly known as Twitter, just trying to find out how the hell to say the damn thing and trying to find out what the hell it means. I simply wrote, how is Xahau pronounced? What does it mean? I read the white paper yesterday, but the answers to these hard-hitting questions evade me. And, you know, the funny thing is, after reading through the responses, like, I have a suspicion about how it's pronounced, but I still don't technically have a firm answer because all sorts of people were telling me that it's pronounced all sorts of different ways. Now, almost all of them think that the letter X is supposed to be pronounced as the letter Z. So that one surprised me. So I guess it's something? Xahau? That's what most people seem to think it is. So I'm going to go with Xahau. I don't know. And then that made me wonder also, well, Wei Wind, one of the main players here, running XRP Labs, he's got the Sum app. Have I been saying that wrong the whole damn time? XUMM? You know the Sum wallet? Is it the Zum wallet? Like, stupid letter X. Stop using the letter X to name stuff. Like, stop it. It should be reserved for the word xylophone, and that's it. Maybe X-ray. Maybe X-ray. And of course XRP, but hell, that's a ticker symbol anyway. That's fine. But we know that those are letters to enunciate. It's not like a word. All right, I got that off my chest now. Let's get into the important stuff. All right, so there was this post. I thought it was really, really thoughtful and shared some valuable perspective. This comes from my fellow XRP YouTuber Crypto Eddie, and she was talking about just this. Oh, and by the way, one thing I meant to mention in a video, before I forget since it popped in my head, I meant to mention this yesterday. There is no ICO with this thing. Now, as far as the coins that will be minted here at inception, which is called XRP Plus, those coins, based on what it says in the white paper, maybe I'll pull it up in a separate video, but those are going to the developers, just like the vast majority. And then the only other way to get it is if you're going to buy on an open market, like GateHub's going to have trading available. Beyond that, they have burn to mint. So say you've got 10 XRP, you can burn it on literally burn your XRP on the XRP ledger, and then that will mint exactly 10 XRP plus on the Xahau blockchain. And it is a fully separate blockchain here, which is why, like I was mentioning yesterday, I don't know. I mean, so it's being touted as a sidechain. Okay, fine. This is why I want to get to the guts of this. And I assume that, by the way, I want to say this too. I assume there is a legitimate good answer as to how this is beneficial to XRP and the XRP ledger, because that's how it's being touted. And I would be shocked, given the like how reputable these people are. I would be shocked if they don't have a good reason. I just can't explain why it's not in the white paper. Because if a primary purpose is to talk is for this sidechain to benefit XRP and the XRP ledger, how come it's barely even mentioned? It's only the only mention I can recall from reading the thing yesterday is they mentioned that it would be good for developers on the XRP ledger to see how the the sidechain performs in terms of, because they're basically implementing what is known as the Hooks Amendment, which has been available on testnet for over 2 years at this point. And the reason that this is even going this way is because the Hooks Amendment has not been approved. For over 2 years now. And so they got frustrated, developers got frustrated, and like, well, then we'll just start an entirely separate blockchain. And so they were articulating, and by the way, it offers, I mentioned this in the video yesterday, but it basically offers a certain amount of usefulness as it pertains specifically to smart contracts. So yes, we're talking about smart contracts on layer 1. So it's kind of like the way it's been described, and this is why I need more clarity. It hasn't been sufficient. Like, I read the white paper, it doesn't sufficiently, for the layperson, at a minimum, it doesn't explain. Like, how is it that this isn't, how does it not bog down? I think the answer is, in lay terms, is that it's basically like smart contracts light. So I don't specifically know what that means you could or couldn't do, but there would be certain functionality that's highly desirable in the eyes of the developers here. But so anyway, the point they were making is that you could see how that goes for the sidechain, and then if it works, you could implement it over on the actual XRP ledger itself. But then there's the question of, okay, well, then if the XRP ledger implements it, then isn't it basically the same as the Xahau anyway? Isn't it like the same as the sidechain? And then why do you need the sidechain? So there's all sorts of questions, not a lot of clear answers at this point. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't good answers. I'm saying they're not widely known, and they haven't, like, I haven't found them. And I'm assuming I'm going to find them. I'm just sharing with you where the discussion is right now, and my legitimate surprise as to why this hasn't been made crystal clear to this point, especially in the white paper. I just, because again, the only, I would expect it not to be in the white paper if there isn't a huge intent to make this good for XRP or the XRP ledger. That's why I'm confused. If the side chain is not designed to primarily benefit or largely benefit XRP or the XRP ledger, if it's not designed to do that, then I would expect it to not be in the white paper. But if that's the case, then why is it even called a side chain? So I think that there's probably a good answer, and I think the developers are operating good faith based on all of their reputation. So I do think there's an answer, but man. And so Crypto Eddie said, for the XRP community, the leaders at the helm of the open source Hooks chain collectively concur on the paramount risk of stagnation in the face of evolving demand. Wietse Wind, a notable voice in our space, discerns a certain resonance with Nokia's missed stride in the smartphone evolution. While he acknowledges Ripple's conservative stance, Wietse fervently advocates a more spirited evolution to accommodate developers ensnared with the precincts of the mainnet. And so again, folks, just to reiterate, what got this going is Wietse-Wynn's disdain for the fact that the Hooks Amendment, which would enable smart contracts on the XRP ledger, it's not been approved and it's been over 2 years. That's pretty much it. I saw him months ago publicly just frustrated and commenting, and I get that. I understand. And so that's what ultimately led to this. The sidechain exists because it wasn't coming live on the XRP ledger. That's pretty much it. Anyway, Cryptody continues. The public XRP ledger, with its fast 4-second block intervals and its decentralized exchange, the main chain stands as a testament to operational elegance. Yet, the introduction of smart contracts at this juncture might momentarily change its operational cadence. In alignment with Ripple's measured stride, the advent of hooks ushers in a discrete yet poignant deviation. Although an imminent integration of hooks functionality into the XRP ledger main chain appears off the horizon, the prospect remains a possibility waiting to be seen. Nestled at the core of this transformative transition is the burn to mint, or B to M, mechanism, an autonomous process encapsulated within a meticulously crafted 13,000-line code repository. Presently tailored for the XRPL, B2M inspires the potential for broader applicability. The unfolding metamorphosis, encompassing the emergence of XRP Plus and Xahau's Layer 1 chain, a landscape of viable commercial models poised to harness the latent potential within this dynamic ecosystem, is very real. Responding with foresight, GateHub stands primed to facilitate the seamless swap between XRP and XRP Plus. Okay, and so from GateHub's perspective, that makes all the sense in the world. I mean, they're an exchange, right? But the burn to mint thing, it's one way. You can't burn your XRP Plus and then get XRP on the XRP ledger. That doesn't work. That's not what it does. You'd have to, if you want that to happen, you'd have to change the code on the XRP ledger itself, is my understanding. So, no, you can't do that. But so it's a one-way thing. So it can take liquidity from XRP and the XRP ledger and then have it end up on a separate blockchain that's being called a sidechain. And I also still, again, what is a Xahau? What is it like an avian creature? Does it fly? I don't know what it does. Is it aquatic? Like, is it an animal? Is it an object? What is a Xahau? I still don't know. Am I saying that right? So many questions. Cryptody continues. In the current environment, the XRPL's entry nodes exhibit a measure of centralization paralleled by the formidable expenses incumbent upon the sustenance of the infrastructure. In stark contradiction, the Hooks chain progresses with the inauguration of a novel governance paradigm, conceivably involving charges for intensive API usage, an endeavor calibrated to invigorate the foundational framework. In a recent disclosure on X, Wietse further explained the intrinsic role of the native assets across both networks, likening them to the quintessential gas propelling the system's dynamic, with the genuine value unfolding within the foundational architecture, the rails. And so, again, I can see how XRP Plus is useful, obviously, as the native coin on that separate blockchain Xahau. And by the way, also, the validators can actually earn XRP Plus by running validators. That's another thing that's different from the XRP ledger, because there is no financial incentive to run a validator on the XRP ledger. And then she wraps up by saying his vision is an ecosystem where users remain blissfully unaware of the specific network underpinning their interactions, the native assets enacting a dual role as the animating force and as a sentinel warding off malicious intrusions. Notably, XRPL Labs stands on the brink of ushering an incentive platform into the ecosystem, a gesture mirrored by Evernode, fostering a nurturing cradle for developers traveling across the new passageway of the Hooks chain. Okay, and so that helps to more so conceptually understand what's happening, but I do still have additional questions. So I think it was a great thread. That's why I wanted to highlight this. But I still have questions, as does everybody else. That's why everybody, there are multiple debates, about what I'm talking about right here. And it's because there's a lack of clarity. So if there is a solid answer, why hasn't that been broadly circulated? I'm still not saying. So again, there's got to be. So I think I'm just going to have to try and reach out more specifically. I just thought it would have happened by now, but I'm just going to have to try and reach out more so and see if I can get a response from some of the developers that are doing this. But I'll say it again. I think they're operating in good faith. I think that perhaps in terms of messaging, since there probably is a legit answer as to why this is good for the XRP and the XRP ledger and thus XRP holders, probably they could have just done a little bit better in terms of getting that messaging out. But I'm going to keep looking into this. I just want to share with you some additional thoughts on this. And I also really liked what Crypto Eddie had to say, so I wanted to include that as well. And then there was also this. This is from Francis Bovine Swift. And by the way, this is the guy that created the XRP rich list. He said, if they want to spin up a chain that interoperates with XRP, I have no issues with that. Just get off the high horse about it. Do it and stop whining about XRP not bending to the will of some developers. XRP is payments. Fast, secure, and distributed. If you want contracts, go for it. But I think they are still 5 to 10 years out. Industry will start with APIs and migrate to smart contracts as they learn to trust blockchain. Godspeed. Yeah, and so I don't have an answer for that, but obviously wait till when he thinks that there's not sufficient developer activity right now as a result of the XRP ledger not having layer 1 smart contract functionality. And Francis Bovine Swift seems to think that the smart contract situation doesn't really matter. XRP is great for what it does, including how the XRP ledger facilitates it. And he seems to think in terms of actual and meaningful integration of smart contracts, we're like 5 to 10 years out. So I don't know who's right. I don't pretend to know who's right. Things develop and it'll happen over time. Either way, I'm just highlighting there are some very serious and big questions surrounding this. So, so go back to the beginning. The main question, other than how the hell do you say this thing, they just need to rename it. Just rename it. Just rename it. Just rename it. Whatever. You can call it the Moon Lambo coin. Like, yeah, let's do that. Call it. Let's rename it the Moon Lambo chain, and there's the Moon Lambo coin. Do that for me. You can use my name. It's totally cool. But no, it's just, does this help or hurt the XRP and the XRP ledger, and why? That's it. Like, let's get to the heart of it. That's it. We'll get the answer. You're gonna have to dig a little bit more and push, because the developers have said all sorts of things about Xahau, but I just haven't seen from any of them that answer. That's all. It's out there, I think, but I'll wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.